All right, so we're starting at The Darkest Hour as an audiobook while I go ahead, and I am actually making some okra and sesame coconut sauce with some brown rice and hopefully a cornbread because I love cornbread for dinner today. And I have to say, I totally forgot that Scourge was a small black cat, and I completely hate remembering that Brindleface died because Tiger Star killed her to make the dogs crave cat. I loved her, I miss her, and I now am totally invested in following the outcome of like what her kits' lives are going to be because she has two like warrior kits. Well, they're not kits anymore, but like she has two kits. They're now warriors in ThunderClan, and they were side characters I completely forgot about the first time I read the Warrior Cat series, and now I just want to like follow them and make sure they're going to be okay. And it's really fun to see how in the reread I find different characters to be invested in than who I cared about in the first place. So last book of the first arc, finally making it. Wouldn't be making it without it being audiobooks. Time to make dinner. I'm getting hungry. Okay, so I just finished The Darkest Hour, the Warrior Cats finale book for Arc 1, and maybe I have some thoughts. So, if you have not yet read the book, you might want to go ahead and scoot out of the video right now because this is going to just be all spoilers for the rest of the video as we talk about the grand finale to the very first of the Warrior Cat book series. And I don't know what to think, to be honest. Because for a very long time, this was the last of what we had for Warrior Cats back when I first read it. Because you guys need to remember, I was a kid when these first started coming out, so I remember anticipating each of the new books. You didn't really know how many there were going to be yet. They didn't have a boxed series yet. You didn't know if there was going to be a second arc yet. I actually didn't know that there was a second arc to the entire Warrior Cat series for years after it came out, because in my head this was the finale of the Warrior Cats adventures. And now that I have reread it, I've got some thoughts. I think the first time I read it, because it was the last book and I didn't know there was anything else to expect, I liked it more than I did this time, because I think I had to, because it was all I had left. It was the last little bit of Warrior Cats that I had left to enjoy. This time around, yeah, I don't know what I thought about The Darkest Hour other than I finished it and I was kind of disappointed. Because honestly, the previous two books, dealing with the fire, dealing with the dogs, Rising Storm, and I think the darker path, or the darkest path, those two were my favorite out of the entirety of Arc 1. It felt like the pacing was great, the drama was great, the buildup was great. You still had the lurking threat of Tiger Star, you still had the questionability of Darkstripe's loyalty, you still had like, is Cloudpaw ever going to be a decent warrior cat, and are you going to rescue him? Building relationships between Sandstorm and Fireheart. We lost Yellowfang, we ended up losing Bluestar. There were conflicts between the clans about who had fathered or mothered which kits and where their loyalties lied. And now, in this final book, I don't feel like that pacing got matched. I feel like everything was weirdly slow at the start and then weirdly rushed. I think Scourge was weird. I think it would have worked so much better if maybe Scourge had been mentioned earlier in the books. I don't think he was ever planned until the sixth book was like ready to go into draft. So I understand why he didn't show up earlier, but I think it would have been more satisfying if even as early as book 2 or even book 1, what if Smudge had heard rumors of these terrifying cats that didn't prowl the forest, but they prowled the streets, and that's why you should stay safe, my friend Rusty, in our little two-leg yard. I think that would have been more satisfying to have Scourge as a big lurking threat that you kind of never interacted with until the very end, but you knew was there and you knew could be a danger, just to sort of build the suspense, because I feel like he was supposed to be so deadly and so dangerous and such a threat to all of the clans that you're supposed to be terrified of him, especially when he just kills Tiger Star. Straight up kills him. 9 live death blow. And that felt kind of weird too, because at first I was like, wow, that must have been like a terrifying, like horrible, eviscerating blow. But now that I've had more time to sit on the final book, it just feels so weird, because he like apparently had dog claws attached, like sheathed to his claws, or like metal on his claws. And on the one hand, I kind of get that, but on the other hand, it's just really hard to picture that one blow like that was enough. I almost feel like if you saw him be able to command those big powerful cats he had with him as his like guards to hold Tiger Star down, and then he killed him 9 times, that would have been even more terrifying. But just one blow, and that was supposed to be enough, felt really weird, and it just didn't feel like I was as afraid of Scourge as I should have been. But this time around, seeing Tiger Star die that quickly in the final book did take me aback a little bit. And it kind of shifted things in my head a little bit, because I was trying to figure out if I liked that or not. He had been a threat from the very first book, and for him to die so abruptly and suddenly, kind of as like a sacrificial lamb to try to make Scourge feel even more of a threat and more dangerous, when he, Scourge kind of just showed up out of nowhere this book, it just didn't click right with me. And it still, I've given it some time, I've sat with it, and I still don't quite like that. I didn't need any grand dramatic final battle between Firestar and Tiger Star, even though that would have been fitting. I didn't really need that, but I don't think what I needed for this sense of conclusion with Tiger Star's effect on the clans was him coming in and just kind of dying to try to make Scourge seem even scarier. I also feel like it got really sort of melodramatic, and it's already a melodramatic series, because these cats spend most of their time staring off into the distance, wondering if they're bad people or who their loyalties lie to, and they just can't tell anybody the truth. So it's already kind of a melodramatic series. But to start off the series with Firestar's leader ceremony being interrupted with this terrifying dream of a hill of bones with blood seeping out of it, A, made me step back and go, is this really a middle grade for just a heartbeat? And B, it felt almost like tacky, if that makes sense. Not like, how do I describe it? That's just like the feeling I have when I think about that, like kind of tacky, like, oh, that's kind of, it's not really smooth. It doesn't really feel like it fits entirely well. It feels like everything just kind of got escalated almost artificially, I guess is what I'm saying. Whereas in the past few books, when things get worse and worse and worse, it kind of built up in a way that you could understand. Some two-leg kids are playing with fire in the forest fire gets going. The dogs are loose, they start hunting, and it just sort of builds up. So Blood Clan coming in and suddenly being a thing, I've given it some time, it just still doesn't quite sit well with me. And I would have liked to have a little bit more of a build up to having a new final boss. I think that's the problem, is that it felt like that trope. I think it's like Deus Ex Machina, which I just butchered the Latin of. Don't blame me, I failed Latin class, I tried. But where you have like the solution to the problems just fall from the sky like a gift from above. It felt like the solution to the problems fell from the sky as Scourge, because he killed Tiger Star, but he was a problem himself, and it had that same sort of jarring, like, this doesn't seem to fit the context of the story we just spent so many books building up. So, on the whole, it's over. And I thought it was a little tongue-in-cheek, a little on the nose, how Firestar getting killed by Scourge and then coming back because now he's used up a life was what allowed him to scare Scourge enough that he was able to go ahead and defeat him. And I thought it was interesting to see how the clans all came together when they had previously been so antagonistic. I do think it's going to be very interesting to see how that might break apart again. It seemed to happen pretty naturally as all the cats went back to the clans and they kind of separated. But I feel like the effects of Firestar having been in charge of all the clans for a little bit, especially when he's had to step in so often to help out Wind Clan, and especially when he's still always been antagonistic to Shadow Clan and to River Clan, will always be felt. And on the note of like Shadow Clan, I remember now why I feel like Shadow Clan has been like almost like the evil clan the whole time. My first read through, I think I was just younger, and you know, you have like cats with darker names, and you have the like dark, scary, boggy area of Shadow Clan that's supposed to give you kind of those little flags to let you know, like, ooh, be spooked. But this time when I read it, I'm like, they just live in a bog. They're fine. Like, they're not that bad. They're just like all these other cats. They had a bad leader, but they're not bad cats. And then who was it? Oh my gosh. Did I put it in my notes? Oh my goodness. I can't remember who killed who, but when Tiger Star, yeah, Tiger Star had who killed. I need Stonefur. The moment that Tiger Star actually ended up having Stonefur killed, and who killed him? I'm trying to check my notes here. I can't see. Okay, hang on. I need to know this. I need to know this because I hate this cat forever now. So yeah, Blackfoot. When Stonefur was murdered by Blackfoot, like while Tiger Star is sitting on this hill of bones, that was the moment I think that solidified in my memory that Shadow Clan is evil. And I don't think that's fair because once again they have an evil leader. But guess what? It was Blackfoot, the deputy, who's clearly going to take over from Tiger Star, who killed Stonefur. And I am never going to like Blackfoot as a result of that, because that just seems so evil and ill-intentioned. Because Stonefur wouldn't kill the two River Clan half-kits, right? He wouldn't kill Featherpaw. He wouldn't kill, oh gosh, who was the little one? Sorry guys, I don't mean to be weird and check my notes, but I want to get this right. Yeah, he wouldn't go ahead and he wouldn't kill them. And so Stonefur represented kind of like what it is like to live by the warrior code, and to just turn around and murder a cat in cold blood like that, the way that like Blackfoot did, is never ever going to sit well with me. And I think that's where my first read through, I kind of solidified like Shadow Clan always evil, but up until like they had bad leader and then a bad leader and then a bad leader, I never thought about the individual cats as evil, and I actually feel really strongly for like the medicine cats, like Running Nose. Oh, and who was it? It was Littlefoot, I think, and Whitethroat, who I'm really sad he died. But all of those cats, like I liked, and they're part of Shadow Clan. Tawny, like Pelt, is part of Shadow Clan now. So I don't feel like Shadow Clan's evil, but I wish I could see more of them away from the influence of their leaders. And I know that's probably going to happen in Arc 2, but it's going to be interesting to see if they continue on with this, like, we have to be the dark villains in the clans because it keeps the conflict going sort of position they've been in. But I mean, Tiger Star did come from Thunder Clan, so maybe some of the other clans will surprise me. So gosh, yeah, Tiger Star's dead, Scourge is dead, like the clans are united under Fireheart and then they disperse again. Fireheart lost his first life, and it all just felt kind of sudden. It wasn't quite what I was looking for. So oh, and I guess the only other thing I can say is I really, really, really loathe Darkstripe because he tried to kill Sorrelkit with Deathberries, and that's not cool. I think those are all the things that really stood out to me in this final book, and it made me so grateful that now we're doing a reread and Arc 2 can just happen immediately, because it feels kind of unsatisfying, to be honest with you guys. So I don't know if that's a controversial opinion or if other people didn't like that final book as much as I did, if it felt just like there was too much tacky sort of drama that happened with no build-up to you guys too. Maybe I'm just really picky, but let me know down in the comments below, and let's get ready because we're gonna head into Arc 2. So I'm very excited. I kind of want a palate cleanser. I want to dive back into the clan cats and I want to have a better story. So I'm going to keep going. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you could, do please leave a like for our warrior cats and stay curious so that you can dive in and we can talk more cats next time. Bye guys.